good evening and welcome everyone to this hustings event that we're going to put on tonight. I'm pleased to say that all 6 candidates for the NED elections has agreed to come on. We've had a very, very good response for questions off members. So all the questions tonight have been submitted by members. Some of the wording may been altered slightly. We've had to amalgamate a few questions, but the sentiment and the meaning of the question has not been sort of altered in any way. So I'm going to get straight on and ask the candidates to do a short introduction of themselves, and we'll start with Ruth. So if you just turn your mic on, Ruth, and just come on.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ruth, and I'm the sub-postmaster of a village shop and branch, obviously, in Marcham, which is Oxfordshire. We're a small community shop and post office, basically run by volunteers. And I've been doing this job for 12 years now, ever since the previous post office and shop shut down. And then we needed to find a solution because it was shut for 3 years before we managed to reopen it as a community shop and post office. I'm really lucky. I've got a lovely team, and the reason they work for post office and for me is because we want to serve the community. And we are all about the social purpose and aspect of post office. You know, we are here in person for the people who need us. That is why we're here, and that's why I wish to stand for NED. That's it.
Right, thank you, Ruth. Vince, next, please.
There we go. I've unmuted myself, so I've passed the technical test.
Yeah.
Just good evening. I'm Vince Malone. I'm a working postmaster from Tenby in West Wales. It's great to have this opportunity, along with the other candidates here, to address to you tonight, our feelings and my feelings as to why I should be the Postmaster Non-Executive Director. It's a vital link with Post Office Ltd. It's a vital link with communication. Our voices need to be heard at the highest level, and we need to drive our businesses forward. I've thought long and hard about what I can bring to the role. I bring a passion, I bring an intellectual approach, but I'm results driven as well. I need to be confident that we can, and I can truly make a difference, a tangible, reasonable improvement to postmasters across the UK. But let me be very clear here. This is not a role I need. I'm not looking to bolster my CV. I'm not looking to enhance my career prospects. However, it is a role I want, and it's a role that we need. It's something that we've got to look at with regards to challenging Post Office Limited and ensure that we have proper governance. Our Postmaster brand is so important to so many. It's so important to ourselves and to our customers, and we owe it to them to secure a viable future for post offices. Please take a look at my election statement and my video. I've even brushed my hair, so I look like really good, but I think we all want to get onto the questions because that's where it's all about tonight. So thank you so much for your time.
Right, thank you, Vince. If you just mute yourself, I think we're getting a bit of feedback of sound from your desk or something. Yeah. Right, Ying next. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Ying Shi, a postmaster and a banking hub operator. And yesterday, I asked a Santander community banker who had worked there for 40 years. I said, Colin, do you feel valued and happy working for your bank? He said, yes. That answer really touched me because it made me reflect. Does everyone at post office feel valued? We know the answer. That's not the same. So that moment made me start to imagine what a post office could be. Imagine a local high street full of potential where businesses survive because the community know they can rely on our post office for essential services. Imagine customer coming to our door, not only because they need to, but because they prefer to, trusting us and to deliver both reliability and innovation. We need cannot emphasize enough. We need to have our own product to secure our future, to surpass competitors like Royal Mail. I have emailed this top management, even presented a business plan about our products and apps and the name as well, because I know we cannot rely on partnership when their strategy changes leave us so fragile. Imagine a network where postmasters are supported by the post office, sharing best practice and helping ourselves, each other grow rather than being weighed down by top-heavy management. And finally, imagine a post office with 300 years strong, where postmasters are valued, fairly paid, where we have the power to shape our future, not just react to it. But last and certainly not least, our core value must be rooted in transparency, accountability, and strong governance. So every day I ask myself, what positive impact I can make? If I elected beyond my regular NED duties, I am passionate about creating a business school for postmasters, offering a platform and option for those who want to increase their revenue, improve their business operations, or simply just learn from each other. We develop skills for today's market, or even something as simple as setting up a website create a new revenue stream. So this is my vision. I know we have a long way to go, but I will fight for it. I will bring my passion, dedication, and determination, make change happen. And I thank you for your support and your vote.
Right. Thank you, Ying. Brian, next, please.
Okay, that's going to be a tough follow. Now, good evening, everybody. I'm Brian Smith, and as many of you know, then I am based in the Shetland Islands. Now, being from one of the most rural parts of the network gives me a really unique perspective that I believe is currently missing from the board. And like almost the majority of us, I don't own multiple branches and I'm not a multimillionaire. So I run just one branch and I actually sit on that counter every single day. And I know firsthand how long transactions take, and let's be honest, how little we're paid for them. Now, over the last 20 years I've run my branch, I've seen lots of changes, been through privatisation, I've seen the loss of contracts right, left and centre, and I've seen the steady decline in our remuneration. But more recently, I have noticed a positive shift. Now, thanks to social media and better communication tools like our chat groups that we all use, then we've been able to come together and share our experiences as postmasters. And no surprise, we found that most of them are very, very similar and they're not very good. Now, through these groups and my involvement with the regional forum and peer support, I'm in touch with other postmasters every single day. And even though we are a hugely diverse group, we all share one thing in common, and that's we have all been taken advantage of by Post Office. Now, with our collective voice, we can push for a real change. And I want to use my experiences and the relationships that I've built to make sure Post Office starts listening to what we need. Now, first and foremost, we need more money. And to be absolutely honest, the only way that's ever going to happen is if Post Office cuts its own operational costs. We also need to see the issues stemming from Horizon properly resolved. And that goes beyond financial compensation. I think we need to see a slate wiped clean, removing anybody who was involved in the prosecutions or past mistakes from our company. And finally, we need to secure our future by working hard to create and maintain contracts that will keep the Post Office and us commercially viable for years to come. So that's what I'm hoping to aim for. Thank you for your time.
Right, thank you, Brian. Sarah.
I hate to correct you, Tim. It's Sara, but it's okay.
Sara, right, sorry.
I answer to worse, don't worry. Can you hear like a blower in the background? Because I can turn it off.
No, it's fine, I think. Yeah,
that's fine.
Fine.
Right, okay. So my name's Sara Barlow. I'm from a mains branch in Rainhill, just on the outskirts of Liverpool, which you can probably tell from my accent. I've been there for 6 years, and obviously the last 6 years in the post office has felt like 62 with everything that's gone on. I'm very fortunate to be in a position that I've been part of many groups in the last 2.5 years with post office. So I've got to meet absolutely lots of postmasters, but not only that, I've met with MPs, I've met with the general exec, I've met with members of the board through working with branch operational change forum, regional groups, IT working groups, voice of the postmaster. I've recently spent the last couple of months working with the NFSP because we've about to implement the wellbeing tile, which is a little brainchild I had just after the ITV drama, and big thanks to NFSP for all the work they've done on that. It's going to be really good and helpful to postmasters. That gets launched on World Mental Health Day, but it's going to be an absolute tool for any issues with postmasters have. So I'm innately proud of that. I was also the person who inspired the affinity breakfast as well, based on a couple of postmistresses saying to me, you know, they felt like they weren't being heard and they'd like to have like a smaller little introduction before they joined other groups. So we did that, and that's going to carry on to other groups for men and for I mean, we call it postmistresses and allies, and that's going to go on, and there's going to be more groups like that. And I presented the 10 at 10 as well. So there's a million things that I've been able to do, but I take them all as really, really fortunate. And it's been, it's enabled me to speak my truth and the truth that I'm hearing from other postmasters. And I've heard some absolute harrowing horror stories in the present time, which makes me absolutely determined to apply for the NED position. I feel like I've done 2.5 years work experience to do it. But that, you know, and I'd love more people to get involved. I'm a big promoter in all postmasters having a voice. Everybody's got an opinion. We've all got different businesses. We've all got different backgrounds, and I'm really interested to hear lots of voices. And I'll tell you the reason why I decided to go for the NED position. A few years ago, I was very fortunate to be in the Queen's Honours for the community work that I did in the post office during COVID. And I was very reluctant to take it because I'm a Hillsborough family member. It didn't seem appropriate that my uncle had fought the establishment for 30 years and we had as a family. So I spoke to a few family members, and one of my cousins, and I will cover some of the language, said to me, "Fight the buggers from within." That wasn't the word she used. And it stuck with me, that word, that sentence. So when the NED position come up, that was the first sentence that come into my head. Fight from within. Instead of fight, I'd like to say inspire. Let's be polite about it. And I actually did tell the board that as well. I did tell them that story. I did say it in my interview as well. Because I don't want to be a yes man. I've never been a yes man. I will always question. And more importantly, I'll always tell the majority as well. I'll always think about what the majority feel. And I've done that over the last 2.5 years. Sometimes I think that doesn't really affect me. I don't really understand that, but I'll listen and I'll put it across, and hopefully I can continue the work I've done from a different position with an actual title, instead of just telling my husband I'm here, there and everywhere again. But thank you for inviting me as well.
Right, thank you, Sara. And last but by no means least, Rizwan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rizwan Salahuddin. I have been with the Post Office family over 21 years. I have completed my master's degree in Communications and Networks from London Metropolitan University in 2007 with distinction, 92.5%. I started my post office career in 2003 as a counter clerk, and today proudly running 4 post office branches and a banking hub in London. Worked with so many different projects within the Post Office Limited, such as IT support group, peer support, guiding coalition in between 2014 to 2016, customer relationship manager between 2016 to 2019, Kudo pilot services. Currently, I'm working with NBIT pilot, Postmaster forums, and many others. I'm here only for one reason, and that is only for the postmasters. As a postmaster, I know what type of challenges we have to face on day-to-day basis. My goal is just to empower empower Post Office Limited and postmasters to work together. I will bring integrity and transparency in all aspects of our business. My vision is clear and my vision is simple: growth in income, sustainable for post office, with sustainable post office and retail business, building trust within the post office communities. From last 21 years, I started my career as post office counter clerk. I did mention all of you. From last 7 years ago in 2017, when I started my first post office as a postmaster, there were so many challenges, but I faced all those challenges, and to be here today is a big achievement for me. For me, my main vision is to support the postmaster. Doesn't matter they are locals, they are main post office. I want to be a voice. I want to be a voice. I want to be your voice at the top table. I want us to be valued. I want us to be heard. I want to show my passion. I want to really, I want to, put my skills towards the board and tell them what challenges we are facing on day-to-day basis in our branches. I am here to support my postmasters. I am here to support my post office family. I am here to us to be valued. I am here to us to be heard. And that is the main reason for me to apply for this non-executive director role. Non-executive director role is not a status for myself. It's about to help others. It's about to help more than 11,500 post office branches in the entire countries. It's not only about 11,000 plus postmasters in the entire country. It's about over 35,000 staff members. They are working in our branches on day-to-day basis. It's not only a livelihood for all of us postmasters. It's a livelihood for all the staff members. They are working in our branches on day-to-day basis. So guys, I am here. I have told you what I want to do, what my vision is, where I want to be, and what I want to achieve. It cannot be possible without your support. Thank you very much, guys, for listening.
Right. Thank you, Rizwan. Right. So we'll crack on with the questions. So, Steve, if you can share the first question, please. Right. So, over the last 20 years, Post Office Limited has seen its monopoly in terms of services it provides taken away. Added to that, the marketplace that we operate is, as far as technology is rapidly changing. And it's a two-part question, this really. What do you feel are the most important steps postmasters must take to ensure that our businesses remain relevant to the needs of our communities and therefore allow us to prosper in the long term? And part B to this question is, what do you, as a non-executive director of Post Office Limited, believe, sorry, I said that wrong. What do you, as a non-executive director, believe Post Office Limited needs to do to provide the support that postmasters require to adapt to this changing marketplace? Tough question, but one sent in by a member. So I'll start with Brian.
Thank you for the privilege. Okay, so to ensure that Post Office remains relevant and to enable us to prosper in the future, then a few different things need to happen. And one of them is quite obviously, we need to modernise our service. We'll need to evolve to meet the changing needs of customers by possibly expanding into more digital services. One example is in some branches, we've been issued a tablet to do passport licenses and ID services. And it's a good service, but it really, really needs to be improved. And it's also got the potential to be so much more. Other things we could do to develop our branches better would be to have internal Wi-Fi for customers who need to download QR codes or access customs information to fill them out, save it doing it sitting on the counter. It would make our jobs a lot easier. It would make their journey a lot better. Finally, we could do something along the lines of improving on the online postage platform. It could be integrated into an app that's available to a customer to log into, get the postage, see all the tracking information. If they want to order travel money, it's all on their personalised data. And coming out the back end of that, Post Office can have information coming back to them from that so that we can actually see the trends that people are using these for. And in today's day and age, information is money. So that would actually help us for the future as well. Now, another thing that we could do is to try and strengthen our position with the banking and parcel hub, because we need to move really, really quickly for the likes of the PUDO service that we're offering. I feel we're falling behind. Now, a few of you out there will already have PUDO. I don't. I've been screaming for it for years. Since it was first announced, I said, I want that. That's what I need for my branch. And it's not come to my area. There's a handful of branches in the Scotland Highlands area that have the service, but none of the more rural branches do. And it could be so beneficial to our branches. And it's just not coming our way. But the really galling thing is, PayPoint have an office about a mile away from me that can offer Amazon, DPD, Every, and they were even offered Royal Mail. They've stopped doing all those services now because they just didn't have the room for them. But if PayPoint can offer those services in my area, why can't Post Office? So what I would like to see happen is us to further develop PUDO, further develop technology, and get further down that route to make us a stronger competitor in that side of the market. Long gone are the days if you need to post a parcel, you go to the post office. If you need to post a parcel, you go to your little corner shop that has a PayPoint that can print off a label for Every. It's cheaper sometimes. It's as good a service as Royal Mail nowadays. So we need to try and develop these things further.
Right. Are you okay? Are you okay, Brian? I'm just trying to move things along. I did forget to say to all six of you, if you can just keep your answers between 2 and 3 minutes,
Okay.
we will get finished.
I will stop there. I had a lot more to say, but basically, as a non-executive director, I would hope to be able to come to the counter and say to people in the know, in the post office at an executive level, this is what I believe we need to start looking at doing for the rural network, for the entire network, get these services out there. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Brian. Can we have Ying next?
Thank you. So the first of all, I think we, as a very fast-paced changing world, we need to remain very strong community ties. The most important activity ensure the post office continuing serve as a vital hub in the local communities. So we understand the community needs. So for example, I have recently, after the drama, I have a campaign, support your local post campaign. Then recently I approached to different medias, approach as a high street banking, where post office, we are now the high street banking retailer. So these services, we need to let the public aware what the service we can offer in today's world. Now, the most important thing I have been emphasized quite a lot is for any organization to survive, especially like post office, innovation is so crucial. Without it, no company can survive in today's fast-paced world. Like Amazon 20 years ago, who would have thought it's just an online bookstore? That today they have become the global giant cloud computing software company. This kind of forward thinking is exactly what we need for the post office. And also, another point is that I think a second question, how we can support. So supporting postmasters with new technologies and trainings. So we need to provide standard training that comes 2 ways. One is the the expectation from the post office, how Post Office Limited can support with us right tools to get a training, with the new technologies. As my own passion, I also wanted to say, last not least, the reason I provide a business school for postmasters, because post office as itself, for the moment, is not sustainable. We have to have a strong retail environment to create a sustainable business model. So this is why I will bring like merchandising, retail strategies, create a customer journey to any customer come to our door, not only for the post office service, also they can enjoy and have an emotion purchasing from our retail side. So that would be a key initiative to empower postmasters to succeed in the evolving business landscape. Thank you.
I think I'm muted myself. Rizwan next, please. Thank you.
Yes, Tim. I can feel the most important step for the postmaster is to be in the community. And post office is a community hub over 380 years. The way that technology is rapidly changing, what actually we want what the community requires. The community requires a face-to-face interaction where they can come and they can see someone. So where they can see it, where they can come and see someone and talk to someone on face-to-face basis. So from my point of view, I will say that like postmasters need to be always a positive. They have to be always a positive mindset. On top of that, they need to educate their team members, their staff members to be always on the top level. Either is about knowledge, either is about we have to motivate our staff. So if we're going to motivate our staff, automatically they're going to provide the best customer services to all of our communities in our areas. As a non-executive director, what support I'm going to bring it on the table, I will make sure that transparency is there, the integrity is there, functionality is there. All the offices, they are well equipped. All the offices, if any of the offices they have any problems in their IT issues or any other stuffs, they are well prepared. They know that what they are doing, and plus the help from the Post Office Limited as well. So these are the expects. These are the measures I'm going to adopt to do this changing of marketplace.
Right. Thank you, Rizwan. Sara.
So I just wanted to mention our social worth as postmasters on the ground level. That's what keeps our customers coming back and trusting us, and that's what makes our brand as trusted as it is, even in these difficult times. It's down to us. It's things like IT is the easy answer. We definitely need more technology. Things are clunky, things are slow, and we know that that's sort of is in the future with MBIT, and that needs work doing. But from the ground side of things, yeah, we need more technology. We also need to take advantage of our social worth and the fact that these customers trust us by gaining more maybe government contracts, which I happen to have spoken to with the Postal Affairs Minister. There's lots of ideas there, because we've already got that trust. People still trust us. I work really hard at knowing when ASOS have got sales on, so I can discuss this with my customers from the ground level. From a higher level, we need to flex our muscles more. It always baffles me that we don't utilise on the strength that we have in our brand. We need to lobby government. We need to let them pay for our social worth. We need to push for a better IT system, and our marketing's actually really, really good, but we need that to filter through a lot faster to the ground level. We need these sort of help and incentives when there's Amazon sales on and when there's ASOS sales on and what have you, because knowing all that is what gives us our next generation of custom. That's what's going to, because we're not going to change overnight. We've been shut for 10 years on a Wednesday, open on a Wednesday for 10 years. People still ring me every Wednesday and say, "You shut this afternoon." It takes a long time for the public to change the perception of things, but we've got to stop. We chip away from ground level, but from a NED position, that's where we actually start flexing our muscles.
Right, thank you, Sarah. Vince next.
There we go. I mean, I would say that, yeah, postmasters have been brilliant at being, it's relevant. That's what we do. That has been our job now. The post office has changed immeasurably. And as postmasters, we understand our communities, we understand what our customers want, and that's why we've survived. That postmaster brand is something that has actually held the post office together. We are a great group of individuals, and this is where we're going wrong. We're a great group of individuals, and what we need is a collective voice, and we need to make sure that Post Office Limited are dealing with us.
Made in 20 minutes, but less.
As a
Right, can somebody who's left the mic on, please turn it off? Cheers.
Or come up with some really good points from it. I mean, like either way, like you sort it out. But no, I think that what we require is the post office to leverage our brand better across the network. It's about engaging with everybody, and all too often as postmasters we're put into silos and we are divided and we do not work together. And I think that is where we need that link with the board to insist that we all work together, because actually, let's be very clear, for a successful Post Office Limited, we need successful postmasters, and vice versa. It's something that actually goes hand in hand. And we have got incredible network of postmasters out there that do incredible things, but all too often they're out on the limb. And this is what we need to do. We need to bring everything together. We need to make sure that we have a collective voice. We talk about leveraging the 11,500 post offices we have. We have a brand that's loved by everyone in the country, and the brand is the postmaster, and that's what we need to leverage.
Right, thank you, Vince. And last but not least, Ruth.
Hi, I've lost the question. All I see is the lovely Vince in front of me. But basically,
yeah. If you can put it back up again, Steve, thanks.
But basically, I mean, all post offices, we have a huge amount of potential. We cover 99% of the country. Customers live within 3 miles of that 99%. It's amazing what we could achieve. The most important step is obviously to make sure that we do remain relevant. And obviously, I come from more of a social purpose side of things. We want to be here for our community. We have loyal customers who will come in and see us, say hi, just for a chat, come and buy various products from both the shop and the post office, because they both go hand in hand. One would fail without the other, so they are linked together. We could achieve so much more, but we all need to work together to do this, and that's as simple as it is. We need to prosper because we need to have customers come in. We need the footfall in the first place, and we just need to continue to develop and change and grow as our business does. And we do need to change with the times. We are antiquated, I'm afraid, and we do need to modernize. However, there is a glitch that many of us have done this for many, many, many years. And as you get older, change becomes harder. And the new NIMBIT system, I know, already currently scares quite a many of my staff who are retired and don't necessarily want to learn new things. So it is hard to get that balance between growing the business and making it worthwhile for everybody. But change can be hard for everybody. But what we do need to do as a non-executive director is obviously provide any support that is necessary to postmasters and their staff to adapt with this changing marketplace. We do Pudo, we've looked at other options as well, but it could be all much more simpler by just having Horizon rather than different technologies. You've got a phone for Amazon if you want to do that side of things. It should all be on the new system, and that's where we need to change and make sure it's as easy as possible for people to operate and get the remuneration we need for that job. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Ruth. Thanks everyone for sticking to 2 and 3 minutes. We're doing very well. So can we move on to question 2, Steve? There is a major issue in relation to governance and oversight of Post Office Limited, where corporate barriers have been raised which impact Post Office's operational decisions on a daily basis. Recent evidence provided to the inquiry suggests these roles are muted. I think that should say the Post Office executive and in the corridors of Post Office itself. What makes you think that you can succeed as a non-executive director in presenting the needs of postmasters direct to Post Office? And again, another very good question. So I think we'll have Rizwan first. Thank you. You're on mute.
Rizwan, you're muted.
You're still muted. Yeah.
It's fine now. If I have been elected, that is my first priority as a member of the board team. Everything has to be transparent and clear for all the postmasters. Either we are bringing any new products or any old products, or if there is any issues or any concerns within the network. I want all postmasters to know the results, to know what the outcome, to know what the drawbacks, to know what the advantages, to know what the disadvantages. Because to be as a non-executive director, this is my responsibility to be at that table to let the postmasters know what the Post Office Limited, they are going for it, what their future plans are ahead. And that is the main reason I want to go for that role, so I can be a voice of the postmasters at the board level. So before they make any decisions or before they make any impact at the Post Office operational decisions on a daily basis, at least the postmasters, they know what impact is going to be for them. For example, recently recently happened with the MoneyGram. The last minute we got the news, like the decision, the MoneyGram services is going to be finishing day before yesterday at night. So these are the decisions we have to know well ahead before rather than at the last minute. And that is the main thing I'm going to be raised at the board level. We are the postmasters. This is our investment. This is our livelihood. This is our family. We want to know everything transparent. We want to know everything clear, what's happening at the board level, what's happening at the Post Office Limited, what's happening at the level of the governance. So these are the things I'm going to implement if I'm going to be elected as a non-executive director. And that I want the needs of the postmaster direct to the Post Office Limited. And the Post Office Limited heard and valued us, what we deserved and what we recognized.
Right, thank you, Rizwan. Exactly 2 minutes, that. Sara.
I think it's fair to say that the current 2 NEDs have had a really difficult time over the last 3 years. I don't think any of us 3 years ago fully appreciated what the role involved and the legalities that came with it. I think we all thought they were going to come to us, ask us questions and go back, and it just didn't pan out the way it did. And we can see from their evidence that they've been treated poorly at best. So I'm hoping that within the new strategic review, I'm hoping with the new general executive, because the majority of them are new, that things are going to change where governance is concerned. I know there is talks of having a committee that everybody's answerable to, and that's definitely an issue that we need to look at, and a project that we need to discuss at length as to who's on that and who develops that and who maintains that. But let's not go on forever. We don't want a committee helping a committee helping a committee. We've got to keep it so simple. I think we can see a change only by this evening. If we look at today's meeting on MoneyGram, that wouldn't have happened 2 years ago. We'd have been we were the last to know, and we wouldn't have been asked questions the next day. It just wouldn't have happened. So I think you can see a change, and I hope that in the next tenure of whoever the two NEDs become, they will have more of a say, they will have more of a governance, they will be, everyone will be a little bit more answerable to what we have been in the past. I'm very fortunate to be on the Legacy Committee for Sir Justice Wynne, and I never want to listen to stories like that ever again. So people have to be made accountable, and that is something that we definitely need to do, and very, very soon. Let's not wait. And it's definitely something that whoever becomes the NED has to be a part of.
Right, thank you, Sarah. Vince.
Thank you. I mean, I think that governance is absolutely key, and now is the time for a line in the sand. It's talk has been cheap, and now it's about actions, and it's about, as to when you're in the room, is making sure that your voice is heard, and it's about making sure that as a non-executive director, you're strong in character, you're strong with communication, and it's about not letting Post Office Limited hide behind statements. And it's about us then, collectively working together. Whoever the two NEDs are, have got to collectively work together, be very mindful as to why we're in that position. Yeah. And it's a position that's there because there's 11,400 others that aren't. And it's about making sure that we assert our voice. And the postmaster's voice is absolutely key. And all too often that hasn't happened. And when we look at the makeup of the board now and the changes that have happened and the inquiry that's gone on, I think we are at that time now where, with the right passion, the right approach, and strong characters in that room, we can start to really build the relationships, because that's where we're going to get better. That's how we're going to improve things. And it's something that whoever the NEDs are will have to take on their shoulders and actively work at, and not allow the board to hide behind collective responsibility. It happens in the room, you discuss in the room, but it's about them being strong about those words.
Right, thank you, Vince. We've got Ruth next, please.
Hi, everyone. I think I echo the words that all the other candidates have just said, and Sarah's correct. I think Saf and Elliot have started the ball rolling as the current NEDs, and whoever is next will continue. I know that during my interview, I definitely made sure that there would be a handover period. It would seem very strange if two NEDs just started 3 years of work and then suddenly left, and then the next new NEDs just arrived, and the board is very young in comparison to the rest of the post office and staff and experience. There's only been a few years between them all, and obviously NEDs come and go. My experience in local government, because of my time on the parish council, gives me the experience working at board level. I understand the code of conduct, and I understand the restrictions of the role that I will take on. But I do want to hear that your views are being passed on, and also just give a reality check. In all honesty, it's very easy for people to become serial NEDs and basically non-executive directors, and you apply for different jobs all over the country, and you can make a job out of being a NED. That's not why I'm doing this. I actually want us to be heard as a voice on the board. And I like sense checking things. So I want to make sure that, contracts that we sign are appropriate. The remuneration comes out correctly, and we will just carry on as a voice together.
Right, thank you, Ruth. Ying, next.
Okay, first of all, I do think currently NEDS, Seth and Elliot, they made a difference. They made a difference through the NED role. You can see from the inquiry, and they have worked to challenge the post office, and the postmaster have become essential of the conversation. But but we still got a long way to go. I completely agree. It's the time for clear accountability and the governance within the post office. First of all, I believe the governance structure should be included more independent oversight, ensuring that decisions are made transparently with accountability. And the post office needs to consider implementing a framework similar like FCA, so which is oversee financial services. The framework, they ensure stability, but funding through the governance support, while guarantee accountability and the transparency through the independent oversight. And it's like establishing an independent guarantee body to oversee the operations and the management, but separately from the government, but accountable to the parliament. Another thing I would say, since I've been a postmaster, I attending every single training course, meetings, workshop, never missing one single regional forum, and peer-to-peer support, very hands-on experience, understanding challenges postmasters face. And we need, as a non-executive director, I intend, if I'm elected, I intend to actively present the voice of all the postmasters, to the board level, truly ensure their concerns are heard and acted upon on. And last not least, I am always fighting for, innovation and cost reduction and fair remuneration. These three key issues is our postmaster face today. And I am dedicated to improving operations while respecting the community role as post office, giving me insight needed to succeed. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Yeah. And lastly, Brian.
Okay. Well, to start with, I have to say that 3 years ago, when the Postmaster Non-Executive role first became available, we were all filled with hope. And very quickly after then, we were filled with questions that weren't answered. And when they stood up and gave information at that inquiry, then they just confirmed about the culture at Post Office and the resistance they've encountered. So it is very clear that there is still a big disconnect between Post Office and postmasters, and that's going to have to change moving forward. Now, while whoever goes in there is going to face the same problems, it's not going to change. But Post Office do really need to understand that postmasters can bring valuable hands-on experience to the boardroom. Only we understand how the decisions that they make are going to affect us on the ground level. And so I think that it is essential that moving forwards, we try to bridge that gap between the executives and us on the front lines. And my aim would be to ensure that this role is more than just symbolic by offering some real practical contributions that can drive some of these changes. Go in and give positive feedback, go in and give negative feedback. But as a non-executive director, our role wouldn't be to run the company, but just be there to provide that strategic advice, challenge when it's necessary, and support good governance, which unfortunately might have been lacking sometimes in the past. But any businessman knows that a diverse board is a strong board, and that leads to a successful company. So to ensure that we get diverse perspectives, we need more than just multimillionaire business people on the board. Postmasters like us really need to be included. And I feel that that's what they need to start to see for themselves. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Brian. Right, you all did very well again at your times. Right, so can we move on to question 3, Steve? As far as the future of the network is concerned, do you think the network needs to be scaled back by a network restructure? Or do you think that there are opportunities to grow remuneration with the network as currently is? Explain your reasons for either. I think we'll start with Ying. Yes. You're on mute, Ying.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. The first rule, everybody can have a voice. Certainly, I'm actively listening what they think. However, I'm not. It's what I think. The first rule, I'm not saying that we need to shrink down or not. Let me just present some figures, okay? I reviewed the post office balance sheet. Actually, for 20 years, I read all their balance sheet. And 20 years ago, the average cost per employee at post office was 24,000, and the postmaster at the time 20 years ago received 34,000 per year. By last year, employee at the Post Office Limited, people cost average is 53,000, but postmaster's remuneration has decreased to the 33,000. It's just completely unacceptable. Now, so that's why I really advocate for the flattening management. So we must flatten management. So the good example is like Timpsons. So the business, they put the frontline postmaster at the heart of the business, think their benefit first. Instead of paying over 50,000 a year, we can save by implement peer-to-peer support, by experienced postmasters visit a branch offering like £50 or £100 per visit. So this is, let's look at the saving cost first, and let's look at the product, have our own product first, then look at this is my approach, look at the network, the number. Thank you.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Ying. Brian.
Just getting my thoughts in order with that one. Now, one of the questions here is the size of the network. Now, I feel the network needs to be big because that's where Post Office's power comes from. The number of branches that we have in our network makes us strong. However, on the other hand, we have branches that I know of personally that are open for about 8 hours a week and serve maybe 1 or 2 people during that time. It's there as a box ticking exercise to say to the government, oh look, there's a branch within 6 miles of that location, which is a ridiculous paper exercise. It's a waste of money. They're firing money at this branch, they're maintaining this branch, they're looking after the machinery and technology that's in there, and it makes no sense to pay for that. But one of the problems that we face is my branch doesn't receive any money from the government. All the grants that come to the post office for its benefit, I think it's £50 million at the moment, that is purely for those types of branches there that are not profitable. Those type of branches there are the reason that we get government grants at the moment. If we were to close them down and take them away, the government grant funding might disappear. So we need to watch how we walk that line as well. Now, I do feel that our power comes from a larger network, and if we can utilize that and get products like Pudo out there to all these different branches, that could potentially make a lot of money, that's the way to go for the future. Thanks.
Right, thank you, Brian. Sara.
Yes. Yes is my easiest answer. The network does need to be smaller. We know that the government insist on 11,000. I'm not very good at remembering numbers. And we know that there are loss-making branches. So yes, it does need to be cut. It needs to be cut quite dramatically, and that sounds really brutal. But it's true. If the government want these branches, then they need to be paying for them. It shouldn't be coming out of postmasters' remuneration, who are working all the hours God sends to barely make ends meet. There is definitely a case for, people, for branches to be where we can, put a van out there a couple of times a week to in remote areas and things like that. There's ways of doing it. We know that there's DMBs who are loss making. They've got to be addressed. So to quote Elias, one of the NEDs, if we get remuneration right, everything else will follow. This is one of them situations where we can gain more remuneration by cutting the network down. We don't have to cut it ridiculously. We can still be on nearly every high street. We're still a massive brand. And then once we've got the remuneration right, once we've got postmasters being paid right, then we can start looking at growing again, but not right now.
Right, thank you, Sarah. Sorry, I nearly did it again. Sara, must remember.
Don't worry, Tim, don't worry.
Yeah. Rizwan.
Yes, Tim. If number of branches increase, current postmasters struggle with, reduced remuneration. We are running business with purpose, social, financial, and with high morals. So according to me, if the number of the branches is going to be increased, the current postmasters in the entire country, they're going to be struggle. I can share some examples. For example, the new drop-off points for Amazon and every services, they are, opening nearby all of our branches. And at the end, we are getting less remuneration paid. Our footfall is going down and down because of those new outlets are opening. So it's not only about the post office business. The footfall brings us a business on our retail side of the business, which is making a big impact on our business. And at the end, the remuneration is the main thing. We all are here just for a fair pay. We all are here for an income. So at the end of the day, if the income is not there, if the fair pay is not there, we're going to go in losses and losses and losses. So that is the particular reason, like I can say the structure has to be same, whatever the structure is. But in branches, the post office, the Post Office Limited, they have to support us with new products, with new things in the market, the way the e-commerce the way the e-commerce is coming up in the industry. If we have more features, if we have more products in our branches, we will be succeed, and there is no loss or no good fair pay for all of us.
Right, thank you. Ruth, next.
At the last accounts, Post Office were 800 million in debt, so something needs to change. It's as simple as that. Do we scale back the network and restructure? I mean, I certainly notice when a nearby post office is shut, my footfall increases, my revenue increases, and I'm very grateful for that. However, I don't want to see that post office shut. I would like to make it easy as possible, because it's all about the customer journey. The customer needs to know that they can come into any post office, no matter where they are, and receive the same service, the same level of service support, and want to come back again. And we have very, very loyal customers who will bypass other post offices just to come to us, which is lovely, but I want all of us to grow as a network. And so therefore, I think obviously we need to grow the remuneration. We need to increase the products and services that we currently offer. We see it on the high street, the banks are shutting. We are now people's local bank, and we should prosper from that fact that we're good with money and we're brilliant at dealing with it. So let's show everybody that we can and grow the business and grow the network as much as possible. But there are a very good case in point for some of the more outdated legacy branches, where obviously we receive the funding from the government probably some of those should be cut back a bit. So it is a hard question, a very good question, by the way. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Ruth. And lastly, Vince.
Yeah, it's a very small question that's going to get a lot of comments just from anybody. I think that what we need to look at is, we need to secure the long-term future of the post office. It's about looking at the viability of our network, our reach, how do we serve our customers, what do we serve our customers, and what do our customers want? And if we're looking at a smaller network, then we need to ensure that they're better resourced. We have a better service for customers. There's better remuneration. And I honestly believe that holding on to branches that are not delivering a service for the community, for their community, for the customers, are ones that we need to be looking at. And we need to be looking at that customer journey to make sure that they're not being disenfranchised. We need to make sure that if branches are going, that we're fully resourcing the ones that are around and upskilling and making sure that if we're looking at extra people going to branch A, then that is fully accounted for with a viability study. We need to ensure we have this world-class service. It's something that our customers demand, and it's something that I demand as a postmaster. And I think it's something that we all need to be demanding. So I would say that we need to scale back our network. It needs to be done sensitively, and it needs to be done with the customers at mind. But we also need to be doing it with the postmasters at mind as well, because actually we're dealing with people's lives, and that's probably the most important thing here.
Right. Thank you, everyone, for those very good answers. Right, question 4. If we can move on to that, Steve. Right, question 4 is it's in 2 parts. So perfectly okay for 3 minutes for your answer. The NFSP in its early parts of the year campaigned for a financial support for postmasters due to the above inflation increase in staff wages and energy costs. This resulted in a 5 million being given to postmasters in the April remuneration. The former Post Office Chief Financial Officer has indicated that the current system of postmaster remuneration is unfair. Bearing in mind the conflict of interest that you will have as a serving postmaster when you're on the board, what do you think you can do on the board of Post Office to significantly improve postmasters' remuneration? And then part B to this question, how will you enable the interests of Northern Ireland postmasters that currently have the highest operating costs in the UK, have zero access to DPD, PUDO, and a very limited access to every PUDO? Would you campaign for a regional top-up payment for Northern Ireland postmasters? Very tough question, that. We'll kick off with Sara. Doing it again. Sara.
Well done, Tim. You got
Yep.
it right. Right, let me think. So, the conflict of interest thing is really interesting, because how can you not be conflicted? I think that's just something that we have to learn to live with. I spoke on a regional meeting about 2 years ago, and Nick Reed was on it. And he was talking about getting all kinds of new partners and new work. And I said, and at the time I said to him, I don't need more work. I need paying more fairly. And 2 years later, that still stands. I still don't know what a hot cup of coffee is like in my branch. We still don't have a lunch break. I still have queues out the door. And yet, as soon as the remuneration hits, pay him, pay her, pay that, pay this, and we start all over again for the next month. And that's not the way it should be. I'm not going to lie, I did not know this about Northern Ireland, and I'm really, really interested to learn more about it. It just makes sense. If the services aren't available to each and every branch, and we're not just talking about Northern Ireland, then we have to compensate that. If I'm open, I'm ready for work from 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, and Post Office aren't giving me them services or helping me provide the services to make my remuneration, then yeah, we have to look at a top-up payment. Sure, of course we have to. Or we need to get the contracts right in the first place. We need to get these new partners out to everybody and more quickly. I'm still hearing people screaming for Pudo all the time. We've got to get better at that. And I don't think that's a conflict of interest to fight for that. And again, it's one of the, I'll say it again till the blue in the face. If we get remuneration right, everything else will follow. So yeah, if anybody's from Northern Ireland, please get in touch with me, because I'd love to learn more. I hate having to talk about things I don't completely understand, so please reach out to me. But as for the conflict of interest, yeah, there's a conflict of interest, of course there is, and that's what makes it so powerful to be a NED on the board. It's because we get it, we understand it, we know it, and we're living it.
Right, thank you, Sarah. Ruth.
Hi. Yes, it's really hard. Being a parish councillor, I'm used to the conflict of interest question, having to declare an interest. Negotiating with our contracts isn't necessarily an interest. So we do need to make sure that the contracts that come through pay us the correct remuneration, and make sure that that is at the heart of everything that we do. Because at the end of the day, without money, we won't survive. We need to be paid fairly, and I intend for that to happen. The Northern Ireland question is hard. It was clear from the scandal that Northern Ireland sadly seemed to be left behind with many of the things that Post Office do. And so again, like Sarah, I don't have any contacts with anyone in Northern Ireland, and I'm happy to talk to anybody who wants to talk to me. But yes, I believe that we should be doing everything that we can to make sure that this is a fair system across the country, the whole united country. And therefore we should have access to everything that we need to do to grow our businesses and to survive for the future. So yes, I would be very interested to know what the Northern Ireland perspective is for postmasters over there.
Right, thank you, Ruth. Brian next.
Hello again. Now, straight away to the conflict of interest part, it's something that I brought up in the interview. It's something that I asked years ago when the NEDs first took the role. And it is something that they work around in the meetings, because there is obviously going to be a conflict of interest with the amount that we are discussing postmaster remunerations and all the rest of it. It's going to be there. However, it doesn't directly affect me. You're not talking about how much money you're actually going to personally receive. It's not like I'm getting a bonus or anything like that. So they've found a workaround in the meetings that mean that the postmasters get to stay in those meetings, which I think is really, really good to know. Now, looking at the interests of Northern Ireland, I think Scotland's not far behind you with higher costs, and we don't have very many offices that offer DPD or Pudo here at all either. I don't offer it. I think my nearest branch is in Forest. That's 400 miles away from me. So if somebody wants to get postage online through Post Office, I have to send them 400 miles away to post that parcel, which makes absolutely no sense to me. It's a service that I get nothing from. Now, Post Office originally said that they would be sending out profit share on those products when they finally actually started to sell mail. I've not seen anything about that since, but I think that should be the same sort of way. There should be some sort of profit share from these contracts that come out to all branches, so it makes it more equal, which is something that I would definitely be interested in looking into. Okay, thanks.
Right, thank you, Brian. Vince.
So I think on point A, I think we can't shy away from the fact that remuneration is absolutely key, and as a NED, that has got to be front and foremost of our thoughts on making sure that we have a viable network. yeah, the conflict of interest, I think, is sometimes a smokescreen that people will hide behind. It's got to be something that we attack just head on. We've got to be adult about this. We've got to get it out in the room. You know, without a fair pay, we don't have a fair network, and we don't have a post office, and that's got to be first in all our discussions. I think there's something that can be dealt with an open and strong communication, and I don't really see that as something that should hold us back as a NED. With the Northern Ireland issue, I think I'm with everybody here. I don't know enough enough about it. I think that, you know, I'm fully aware of the issues that they have with extra charges. You know, I know for their newspapers and magazines that, you know, their carriage charges are far higher than the rest of the UK. But what we need to do is, you know, decide, you know, do we want a post office network in Northern Ireland? And clearly we do. Yeah, it's part and parcel of what we are. We encompass the whole of the UK. So if that is the case, we need to make sure that we are giving them a fair wage. We are giving them a viable option to be able to survive. And that has got to be something that we discuss about as well. And I think that, you know, that is something that needs to be understood a lot better. But starting point is that we want a viable network of post offices in Northern Ireland, and then we work back from that and see how we can make that happen.
Right, thank you, Vince. Rizwan.
Yes, I'm unmute this time. Fair pay and income is the main concern for our business. I will discuss at the board level to involve and engage Postmaster via forums or different platforms. My plan is the post office to be a place where every single postmaster in the network feels that their business is secured for a future ahead. In regarding about the conflict of interest, there will be not any conflict, because I have a strong interest to helping and supporting the postmasters in the entire network. For me, conflict doesn't happen. Conflict is creating by having interest on profiting while it should be served. If I'm going to be elected as a non-executive director, my first priority is to bring the positivity among postmasters so that they best serve the community and support each other. Conflict only appears if you change the path and ask for more by forgetting others. I will give you an assurity there is no clash between my personal interest or my professional duties. Some duty is called duty of loyalty and what I am going to focus on. My intentions will be progress further as a postmaster. My personal working life, however, this will not be effect on my role as an NED. I can share some examples with you, like, you know, about the conflict of interest. Last year, I was in NFSP conference in Midlands, and that time there was a session for the Nick Reed, and after the Nick Reed session, he says something about the banking hubs, and that particular time only 6 banking hubs were opened. And after the session, I've been to the Nick Reed, and I said, Nick, you must change the structure, how you are appointing the banking hub operators in the entire country, because the local postmasters, they deserve to be first to be selected or to be appointed for the banking hubs, not the people they have, you know, brilliant operational excellence performance. Because of the voice, because I speak up that particular time, after a couple of months, Nick Reed that particular time, he says to me, Rizwan, I will take that thing on board and I will speak to my team about that. And afterwards, after a couple of weeks, you know, we have received on our newsletter, they're going to offer the banking hub only for the 3 local postmasters first. If somehow they're not going to be selected, then they're going to put it, you know, for overall to apply. But the concept is here, like, I speak up that particular time is not for myself. I speak up for the entire country postmasters. Today, I can proudly say, somewhere in the country, lot of local postmasters, they are operating banking hub, because I speak up that particular time. Secondly, in related to the Northern Ireland postmasters, if I'm going to be selected as a non-executive director, I'll make sure I'm going to be stand with them. I'll make sure I will be on the board level, and I speak up for them on their behalf. It's not fair for the Northern Ireland postmasters to be left out. They work in the same way all of us, we work in the entire UK. when it comes to other transactions as well. So they are left alone. So we have to support them. So they need a voice. The Northern Ireland postmasters left alone, but I want to be their voice to support them so they can get better remunerated. Kind of, for example, Pudo services and every are limited there. We will make sure they have more platforms there. I will make sure they feel safe. I will make sure they feel valued. They are a part of UK. They are not separated from us. So this is basically my goal and my vision is for the Northern Ireland postmasters.
Right, thank you, Rizwan. And lastly, Ying.
I'll make it very, very simple. And as everybody else already said, yesterday Tracy on Facebook said how, so many local post offices are struggling and postmasters earn less than minimum wages. I visited peer-to-peer support, the lady Jane telling me her wages every month is 1,200. It's just simply unacceptable. It's not for living, and this must change. Let's just come to the conclusion. It's nothing conflict or not. It's who said yesterday in the Facebook as well. It's a criminal. Nobody should be paid below the minimum wages. So there is no conflicts or not. You have to put on the table, look at the data, how many post offices paid that little money and it's not surviving. And we need to simply just find a solution for it. And so simple as that. In terms of Northern Ireland all the services, again, we have to bring all the voices on the board, and whether it's compensation, whether it's just every single locations, different voices, bring on the board and look at the data. Based on the data, we have to make a decision. It probably is going to be a hard decision, but we have to have some kindness and compensation in place. Then so be it. I will be the voice for that. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Ying. Right, well, we've soon got round to the very last question, question 5, if you can bring that up. As a non-executive director of Post Office Ltd, you have an opportunity to improve the working of Post Office Ltd from the inside. Would you agree that in general terms it is better to work to improve an existing relationship than trying to start from scratch, and why? And I think we'll kick off with Vince.
I mean, there's a loaded question, just without a doubt. I think that you've got to look at where the starting point is, and it's clear that to the point that we've got now, we haven't had a working relationship. But from my point of view, what I've seen is that there has been some words about improving that paving to a better communication. But what we need now is something that is more concrete, something that is actual about real actions. Now, to do that, we have got a network of people that have been with the organisation for a long time, and we don't want to be throwing all that experience out, because it's about us looking at where we go from here. And I think it's probably better for us to work with an existing relationship, but it's got to be with ground rules that are about what's important to us, what's important to the post office, what's important to post offices rather, and what's important to Post Office Limited. Because as I said earlier, the post office needs us as postmasters and post offices to thrive. And if we do, then they do, and vice versa. And I think that whole working relationship is something that can be built upon. It's something that as adults we can sit down, we can thrash out any concerns that we have. And as long as we have the same end goal, I don't see it as a problem for us to work together. I see that as an advantage, but at some point there will come the issue whereby there'll be a working relationship that doesn't work, and that has to be dealt with as well. But I'm all for working with relationships, because actually my whole business life is about working with relationships, and we always work better together.
Right, thank you, Vince. Rizwan.
Hi, Tim. Yes, I would like to stay with the existing relationship with the post office. As post office, as I'm working for the post office over 21 years, I know that if Post Office Limited and we work together,
if we can just stop, Rizwan, we've got a terrible echo. I don't really know where it's coming from. If you're not speaking, you just turn your mic off, please. Yeah, start again, Rizwan.
I would like to stay with the existing relationship with the Post Office Limited, Tim.
Yeah.
For me, teamwork is always dream work. I want Post Office Limited and Postmasters to work together for a brighter and sustainable post office future. I'm sure a lot of Postmasters, they have concerns, like there are so many issues going on between Post Office Limited and Postmasters. But without Post Office, Postmasters is nothing. And without Postmaster, Post Office is nothing. Together, we can build a new chapter for this incredible organization. I want to improve my existing relationship with the Post Office Limited, and trying to make sure, like Post Office Limited, they care about us, they heard us, they valued us, they paid us a better remuneration. They know what we are doing on day-to-day basis. We work 7 days a week. Some of the offices, they open 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night. Are we getting rewarded what we deserved at the end of the month in the shape of our remuneration? Yes. So on those basis, we have to improve our existing relationship with the Post Office Limited, and and the top people as well. For me, Post Office Limited is a big organization. For me, they are nothing without Postmasters. Postmasters, they are the post offices. They are the main, basically main hub in the communities. We are there to support communities. We are there to serve small and large businesses on day-to-day basis. So for me, I always say, and this is my motive, like, to work with the post office rather than against them, to work on the relationship, so it will beneficial for the postmasters and for the entire country, and as well to the Post Office Limited.
Right, thank you, Rizwan. And we'll move on to Ruth.
I come to this role with absolutely no agenda, and I would like to work with Post Office to get everything to improve. And we do need to improve the existing relationship. We need to rebuild trust. We need to improve our remuneration levels for certain. I know that when I first took on our post office, our remuneration level was going to be an exciting £2,500 a year. That is not viable. It was a 7-day-a-week job, and hence the reason we're run by volunteers. It has to be fair, and it needs to work out that way. But we do need to improve this relationship. There's no point in starting from scratch. We've already got 370 odd years of history. We can carry on building and building and building till we can rebuild trust with our customers, trust with each other as well. And we do need to support each other to go through together and just grow our businesses and grow our communities and what we thrive for, basically. That's what we're here to do, is to improve. It is hard. I will be there, hopefully, as a NED or any of the candidates, and I'm ever so pleased that there will be a handover period. I did fight hard for that, and I think that should be there, because there's no point in starting from scratch, but we do need to improve together.
Right, thank you, Ruth. Ying.
Thank you. Yeah, since day one, I've been post office. I'm very lucky. I had a very, very good area manager. And I'm very grateful for the DSC support or IT department support. So for me, post office, the support team, its whole experience been positive. I am grateful for that. So I would love to work on the existing relationship. However, saying that, we do need fostering the unity and the cultural change, a unity together, all the voices. So for like NFSP, the voice of Postmasters, any all of us, we working together, we achieve a collective goals. Also, I would say we can I would suggest post office recruit more experienced postmasters into the operational roles within the post office could be beneficial, because the first-hand knowledge and experience can provide valuable insight and help the bridge that gap between the Post Office Limited and the postmasters. The trust always comes two ways, two key steps. So for us postmasters, sometimes we do need to ask him for help, if rather than instead of complaining. We need to reach out when we need assistance, and there are many great people in the post office. They are who are ready to help us. And then other hand, frontline postmaster must be the center of decision making. Post office need to understand the day-to-day challenges postmasters face. So I would say, for better, for worse, we are on the same boat. It's one post office, one purpose. We only have one future together. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Ying. Brian.
Hello again. Now, I am going to sit on the fence and say I would like to see both. Now, as I said earlier on in my introductory statement, I think that we do need to wipe a slate clean. There are people working in the company that have wronged postmasters and gone against us with malice, to be absolutely honest. And I feel that that needs to go. There's no place for them in a company where we can have trust in the company when they're still employing people that have done wrong to postmasters with malice. I think that's the first step that we need to take. As we all know also, Nick Reed is leaving, and for better or worse, he did a good job in some ways, and he's led us through COVID and some other big changes. So we're going to have a clean slate with a new chief executive at some point. And on the back of that, we do have some good staff. Like Ying has said, my area manager is absolutely fantastic. My regional manager is absolutely fantastic. They do a lot for me, and I am on the phone to them on a regular basis, asking for help and support with different things. So there are certain members of staff within Post Office that need to leave, need to be gone before we can build any sort of trust with the company. But there are also staff that are good eggs that we would like to keep for the future. Okay.
Right, thank you, Brian. And last, Sara.
I think we're in a period of change. As the next 10 year for NEDs is going to be challenging. We're gonna get to the end of the inquiry. We're going to have to see what Sir Justice Wynne has to say about what's going to happen. We've got the strategic review. And I think everything's already started. We can see the ball has started to roll. I totally agree with Brian that we need to look at what is bad within the network, where the relationship is going to be unattainable to rebuild. But there is good in it. There is, and there's not just good. There's some excellent people within POL. I still feel they're very top heavy at the moment. Of course they are, and I think that's got to be looked at, and hopefully within the strategic review it will be. But there's good relationships already there, and I'm very privy to have met the current acting CEO, or whatever title interim he's got at the moment. A lot of the new GE, they seem to be saying the right things and ticking the right boxes, and I've come out of Wood Street over the last few weeks with optimism, which I haven't had for 2.5 years. So yeah, I'm all for rebuilding. We're adults. let's rebuild relationships. But yeah, there are some that we're not going to be able to rebuild, and we need to let go of that. But let's move forward as well. It's time to move forward. We've spent a lot of time in the dark and in the past.
Right, thank you, Sara. And that comes to the end of the questions for this evening. So I think we'll just finish off with closing statements from you all. Please keep to a couple of minutes because obviously time's nearing 9 o'clock. So just a couple of minutes, just tell everybody why you think they should vote for yourself. And we'll start with Rizwan.
Hi, Tim. Being a non-executive director is not about any status for me. Together, we can build something bigger and better. I need your vote to be your voice at the top table. I need your vote for a fair pay. I need your vote for recognition. I need your vote for us to be honored. I need your vote for me to speak up at the top table and ask them a question. Are they rewarding us back the input we are putting in our branches on day-to-day basis? I need your vote for us to be valued and honored. I need your vote for a brighter and sustainable post office future. I need your vote to make post office a place where everyone feels empowered to succeed. Let's do something together, not just for us, but our future generations to come. So please vote for all of us. It is very important for all of us. If your vote matters, NFSP is doing an incredible job to support all of us in so many different platforms, especially organizing this hosting calls. This hosting calls is aired for a reason. Please avail that call. Please make a vote. Please use your judgment. Please go with the positivity. Lastly, I want to say something. I always wear my name badge, Postmaster badge, with pride because Post Office Limited means a lot to me in every aspect of my life, and I'm proud to be a postmaster. Thank you very much. Let's the vote begin. Thanks.
Right, thank you, Rizwan. And swiftly on to Brian.
Now then, the reason I want to become Postmaster NED is because I feel that I've got a perspective from a very rural area, which is completely missing on that board. I've got a perspective from not the hugest, wealthiest background, which again is completely missing from that board. And I feel that going in there and trying to shake things up a little bit with my experience, 20 years in a post office, I think that I could make a big, big difference. So I need you guys to vote for me. Looking at the different figures that post office come with is absolutely insane. How can a company spend 2/3 administering 2,000 staff members in a head office? And we have 11,000 branches and we only get 1/3 of that amount of money. If they cut 10%, they can increase our remuneration by 20. So that's the conversations that I would like to be having with them. So thank you very much for your vote.
All right, thank you, Brian. Sara.
Oh, I've nearly done a Rizwan and never got myself off mute. Firstly, thank you to the NFSP for hosting tonight. And secondly, well done to my fellow candidates. There's some fantastic answers there, and I'm very humbled to be part of the 6. Whoever gets the most votes, whichever two, best of luck to you. We all seem to be singing from the same hymn sheet, and we all seem to have the same values, and that's really refreshing. I don't know why you should vote for me any differently to the rest of these people. I just know in my heart of hearts, I work so hard. I go above and beyond. I read everything. I do what I can, and I'll continue to do that. And that's all I can promise you. All I can promise you is everything I've been trying to do for 2.5 years, I'll continue to do. I will always challenge. I will always speak my mind. I will always say what I think is good as well. I will never just criticize. It's not my nature. But I will hold people to account without fear. Yeah, thank you for staying up this late. I know we've all had long days, and I appreciate the time if you do take it to vote. Best of luck to everybody involved.
Right, thank you, Sara. Ruth.
I echo Sara's comments. This is a great opportunity for any one of us. We should all be very proud that we have made it through to the final 6. And it's clear that we all have the same passion and want to succeed. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work being done by Elliot and Saf already. I've no doubt of that. It's a shame we haven't heard about that on a higher level, but I believe that they have done a good job and they've started the ball rolling. The results of the inquiry will come out, and this will be the hardest term, I think, for all of these 6 candidates, because we will have to deal with what is said, and it won't be pleasant. We all know that already. And we have to come up with a plan and realistically work at board level and listen to everything that's going forward, but prioritise all of the results that come through from that. I would like your vote, obviously, as a candidate, but please do vote regardless, whether you vote for myself or not. Please vote anyway, because at the end of the day, it's a democracy, and I would like it to follow through. I must also apologise that slightly shorter statements than usual, because I've had an abscess the past few weeks and just had a tooth out today. So I feel like I've done 10 rounds with Mike Tyson with my mouth. Yeah. So I'm really sorry for not speaking quite as much as I would normally do. But I'm used to managing investigations. I'm used to dealing with things and looking at the bigger picture. And I would like to make a difference. So please vote for one of us, if not me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ruth. Ying.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tonight. And so despite being late, but I just feel like we are not too late. If nobody starts voicing the need for change, nothing will ever change. We must continue fight for our future. The post office remains one of the largest, community-based business. By standing firm in our value and acting with integrity, together we can make this work. We can't change the past. From here, things can only get better, and I'm not new to tough challenges. Above all, transparency, integrity, accountability must be the core of the governance. And my approach is very straightforward. Understand the core challenges and acting now and moving forward and execute. So I will fight for fair pay, driving innovation and making tough decisions that will create more sustainable and profitable business. Thank you for all the 5 candidates. Good luck to you all.
Right, thank you, Ying. And last, Vince.
Thank you to all involved. I have a real belief in the post office. I have a real...
Oh, now then, I think we've lost him. Are you there, Vince?
I think he predicted this. He had his phone set as backup.
Yeah, I'll just give him a minute. He's back.
There we go.
Yeah.
Am I back now? Okay. Yeah, so real understanding of the issues, and I'm absolutely committed in having a viable future for the post office across the UK. Yeah, it's got to be focused on postmasters, because we're focused on our customers, and it's about turning that pyramid upside down and looking at what's important to us as an organisation, and our organisation is our people, and I will be the advocate for that. So please use your vote wisely, but please use your vote. I'll echo that, and have a great evening.
Right, thank you, Vince. Thanks to everyone for those closing statements. Well, you've done very well. You've all finished with a minute to spare. That's brilliant. So I must thank you all for coming on tonight and speaking to our members. And I'd like to thank all those members who sent all those questions in. We did his very best to amalgamate them, just slightly reword them, but I can assure you that the sentiment of the questions is exactly as is. And obviously, I'd like to thank everyone who's listened in tonight. I believe the email was sent out on Monday. You click on the link and it takes you to like a voting page where you can see the 6 candidates and you can see their statements. And you have while the 16th of October, I believe, to vote. It's my understanding that the term of office starts, I think, next year, June. I don't know whether you've been told. That could be wrong. I don't know. I would hope that it would be before then, and there was some overlap with 2 of yourselves and Saf and Elliot, but we'll see how that turns out. So thanks to everyone, and obviously Steve and all the team at Shoreham who've done all the admin for it. And I hope you have a good rest of the evening, everyone. Thanks very much.